Welcome to the All Access Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Joseph Bruen. This week, a very special edition. It's the WrestleMania 42 recap special. All things WrestleMania. We're coming off the heels of Mania. An eventful Mania overall. Night 2, in my opinion, certainly better than Night 1. But I guess that's how it should be, right? You want it to, keep building until the end of Night 2, or it wouldn't make sense otherwise. But got two great people on the panel here tonight. We have a third joining us a little later on, but right now I'll started off with the former co-host of Joe's Professional Wrestling Talk Show, Joe's Hardcore Wrestling Talk Show. He is an icon in Riverside, Rhode Island, currently running for Ward 4, Mr. Jason Botelho. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Pleasure to be here. Looking forward to it.
Pleasure to have you here. And Jason, a longtime friend. Obviously, you might have caught his episode not too long ago, about a month ago. And, of course, up next, we have from WMEX Radio. It's 15:10 a.m. It's 101.1 FM. The Final Countdown with Joe Matterazzo. Joe, welcome to the show.
Joe, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. This is an honor. This is going to be great.
Same here. Not a you're certainly not a shy to the show. You've been here many times. People have seen you here. You've interviewed me. We've chatted up wrestling, so it's great to have you back. And exactly, this will be a lot of fun. Let's talk about WrestleMania. Let's get right into it. Night 1, they had, just over 50,000. I think it was just under 51,000 or so. Night 2, they had about 55,000 and change. There was a lot of feedback of, sales are down, attendance is down, and stuff like that. But there's so many different ways of looking at it. Financially, that doesn't mean it was a failure. But, of course, they could have filled more seats if they lowered the prices, which we've touched on before. But, they do the on location, and they have all the special autograph signings and all that. Just the money alone that they get off of on location is probably more than if they were to fill the remaining empty seats at WrestleMania. So, I think they're doing okay either way. Still two great crowds. You'll compare that to old WrestleManias where you're getting anywhere from 13 to 19,000 just for one night. Now you're getting over 50,000 people 2 nights in a row. So still a success in my eyes. But, they kicked off. Let's talk about LA Knight, the Usos teaming up, 6-man tag team action. They defeated the Vision, of course, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, the tag team champions, along with I Show Speed, a little bit of celebrity involvement, if that's what you want to call it. And, overall, I thought it was a very entertaining match. I think I Show Speed is somebody who is kind of picking it up quick, technical wise. I mean, he could do some crazy high flying stuff. I think he's coming along nicely. Who knows if he's going to be somebody that they're going to use going forward, multiple times, but it could be just a couple times here and there. But thoroughly entertaining match, in my opinion. Obviously, LA Knight and the Usos victorious. Overall, I think a great way to kick off WrestleMania. Some high flying action, some fast paced action. What do you guys think, Jay?
Yeah, I thought it was a perfect match, especially with the format, the ESPN, the free first hour. You get the Logan Paul, I Show Speed. It made sense to have that match in that spot. Probably about 10-12 minute match, which I thought was perfect. Didn't need to be a marathon. And I love the finish or the post match with Speed going off the top through the table on Logan Paul. I thought that looked really good. So for what it was, I thought it was fine.
Job well done indeed. Joe, how about you?
Yeah, it was a great way to kick off the show. I thought it was a very entertaining match. I think Speed showed a lot. He's definitely learning. He's an athlete. He is a superior athlete. If you ever see any of his stuff on social media, this guy can go, and he took it serious, and he took his training serious, and it showed. I didn't see anything that was sloppy on his end to be able to finish the match off, like you said, with that flying off the ropes the top rope through the announce table onto Logan Paul. Dynamite way to do it and get himself over and side with the Usos and LA Knight. A solid match and brought a lot of eyes to ESPN too. It wasn't ESPN Ocho, so we didn't have to worry about that. We we made sure that it was on the pre-show. What a great way to start off.
And how do you guys feel about that? Each night having that 1 hour of free content on ESPN.
I thought it gives it a little bit of a pre-show feel to it. It feels like it felt separate, a little bit separate from the card, but strategically, I think it's a good idea the way they do it, and it allowed you to have some high-profile matches early in the show, but it just, especially Saturday, it just felt sort of like a pre-show to me. But that's just how I feel.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, definitely. I think I don't know if it brought any more buy rates to what it was going to be for ESPN for the app. But definitely, it would have drawn enough interest for people to tune in to see both nights. First time WWE's ever been on ESPN Live on any of their channels. So history was made, regardless. And you know what? It'd be interesting to see what the ratings would be for the pre-shows on both nights. I don't know if they've even come out yet. I have not seen them. That would be very interesting to see how they fared.
That's a good point. And
rewinding
10 or 15 years ago, we never thought we'd see WWE on ESPN. But hey, go ahead, Jay.
I know. I said I saw online. I saw 1.6 million on ESPN2 for night one, and 1.8 million for night two. And Saturday night, 1.6 million on a Saturday night, and it was ESPN2. I mean, that's strong. Then 1.8 on Sunday. I saw it online, so I can't verify that's 100% true. You never know, but
it's got to be
right.
True if it's online, right?
Yeah, I mean, wait a minute.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I mean, look at those are SmackDown numbers. Those are Monday Night Raw numbers. You know what I mean? No, before they went on to Netflix and stuff. So I mean, that's pretty good. That's a win for ESPN.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Yeah, no, it's you don't know how it's going to do until you try it, and I think it was certainly a success. And it'll be interesting to see overall the WrestleMania numbers and the buy rates and how it did. So I'm looking forward to seeing those numbers come out. From there, we saw an unsanctioned match. Jacob Fatu defeating Drew McIntyre. On the the other episode that we did here on the podcast, we kind of gave our predictions for WrestleMania on the panel. And, I said it could go either way. I'd be happy with it either way. I'm a fan of Jacob. I'm a fan of Drew. I think both of them should be, pushed in one way or another. I kind of wanted Drew to win, but I thought Jacob was going to win. That was my prediction. And that's exactly what happened. And, I think it's great for both of them. It showcased them pretty well. Although I think being an unsanctioned match, maybe it should have went, I don't know, something a little crazier. It just kind of felt like maybe they almost did some bigger spots on Raw and stuff leading up to the pay-per-view. But it was still a great brawl and showcased both of them, but certainly put Jacob Fatu in that spotlight. And obviously, as we saw on Raw the following night, positioning him to now possibly, do some business with Roman Reigns for the big title there. So, it's bringing him to the next level is what it did. And it doesn't hurt Drew, in my opinion. Drew can certainly move on to something else now and still be high profile. And I think he'll always be high profile. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Joe. It was one of those things where I didn't want to see either of those guys lose on WrestleMania. I would like ideally to see them both in spots where they could have won. But again, it's a good spot. It's the ESPN spot, so it's a good visibility for both the guys. And I think Jacob winning, especially after what we know now, I think it was the right call.
Yeah, being an unsanctioned match, look, I'm a former referee, wrote the rule book. So to me, there's little things that I looked for. And one of them that was very glaring to me, and I don't know how many people caught this, the referee was not in stripes. He was in all black. which gave it a whole different feel as to what was going on. And whether we knew that or not, or whether you picked up on it or not, subliminally, it was different. So it had a little different feel that the referee was basically there to just call the end of the match, whether it was a pinfall, submission. So it gave it a little bit of a different look to me about it, and I really, to me, that shined. I thought that was great because they made it stand out a little bit differently. Again, I think the finish could have been a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more over the top, like you were kind of saying, Joe. I wanted to see a little bit something more, but having Jacob Fatu go over on Drew, I think now this just gives them the opportunity now to branch off and, like you said, move in their directions, which way they should go. And Jacob looks like his trajectory is going to be really big.
Absolutely. Yeah, I look forward to seeing that feud. It feels fresh, it feels good, so a lot of potential there. And anything involving Roman and Fatu, I feel like is money, and people are gonna be invested in it. So it'll be interesting. From there we saw the women's tag team at championships. It was a fatal four-way. Kind of chaotic on paper. It's like, wow, okay, look at all these names. Let's see how this is gonna go. You had the advertised the Bella Twins against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Of course, Nia Jax and Lash legend Bailey and Lyra Valkyria. Some great teams, some great wrestlers there. Obviously, Bella Twins would come out, and Nikki was injured, still not cleared with her foot injury. Brought out Paige, a big surprise, a big pop. Got a huge pop, actually. So I was excited to see that. And it just didn't feel the same for me personally when Paige was in AEW. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It felt like she just didn't fit there as well, but it definitely feels like she, belongs here. This is definitely home for her. She feels the same, it seems. In the interview I saw, she was on Stephanie's podcast today and thoroughly enjoyed that. So it's good to see her back. It's good to see her kind of come full circle and winning the championship in her return there, new tag team champion. So feel bad for Nikki, obviously being unable. That must have hurt a little bit. Seeing her sister go on to win the belts, and that was, I'm sure, supposed to be her. I bet the Bellas were probably going to win, anyway. But good opportunity for Paige. It's like she didn't skip a beat. The crowd was behind her. They remembered her. It's been a long time, obviously. What did you guys think of that?
Joe, go ahead first.
Sure. Okay. Look, first of all, Joe, I know that you're a big fan of tag team wrestling, the same as I am. Jay, I don't know how you feel about it, but if you're friends with Joe, you got to be pretty much on the same page. Look, the pageantry of it all. I love WrestleMania, the entrances, the pageantry, everything about it adds to the match. Each of the teams came out in matching outfits, some kind of a matching outfit. I love the homage to Demolition from Nia Jax and Lash Legend with the white masks. I thought that was awesome. That to me was just, I popped the minute I saw it. Seeing Alexa and Charlotte come out with the matching butterfly wings, but different, but they were still the same thing. They had those giant wings on. Of course, Charlotte had that little girl that helped her design the outfit that she wore. There's a great story behind all that. If you've never seen it, please look that up. Lyra and Bailey, the same thing. And then, of course, the Bell is always coordinated anyway, but then to have Paige come out, great. I thought the whole thing was very well orchestrated. To have Paige win and get the win for them, I thought that was great. I'd be waiting for Nikki to turn on Paige because I mean, Stevie Wonder sees that coming. I can't wait for that moment. And then Paige becomes the biggest baby face going with Nikki and Brie as the heels. I think it's going to be great.
Absolutely, Joe. And Jay, before we go to your comments, let me just introduce to the panel, welcome to the show. He is a former professional wrestler in the New England scene, the suntan Superman himself, Slick Ricky Gonzalez. Welcome to the panel. Oh, we're in business. We're good.
There you go. Sorry I'm late, guys. Great
That's
intro.
right.
I appreciate it.
Welcome to the show. And Ricky, this is Joe Matterazzo, WMEX Radio, and Jason Botelho, my former co-host of Joe's Hardcore Talk.
Ricky.
Awesome. How's it going, guys?
Very
to have
well.
you
Good,
here.
good.
And
Good to see you.
Jay, why don't you go with your comments on the Fatal 4-Way, and then we'll get to Ricky and backtrack a little bit.
Yeah, so I thought it was great to see Paige back, and like you said, the crowd went wild for her, so that was cool. And I agree. That was my thing. I was gonna say is it works out well because obviously you're gonna see the Nikki or Brie turn on Paige and set that up so that they're in a good spot right now, going forward. And yeah, I thought the demolition gear I thought was my favorite. That was probably my favorite gear of the weekend. I think I might be forgetting some. Oh, I like Rollins' jacket, but yeah, I thought the demolition gear was awesome, from Nia and Lash. So good match, good match for what it was, and I think the right team won because you can go a lot of different directions from here. So it should be interesting.
Exactly. So Ricky, let's backtrack a little bit. We're not too far in, so if you want to give us your thoughts on LA Knight and the Usos defeating iShow Speed and the Vision, your comments on that match.
I thought it was okay. It was pretty cool with the I Show Speed spot at the end. You kind of knew it was coming. I think we talked about it before, but it was a good start to the show. Obviously free on ESPN for everyone to watch, and I Show Speed just has such a massive following that anything this kid is doing, there's going to be eyeballs on it. So really smart on their part to put that on first, get that out there for everyone to watch. My dad was watching. My dad hasn't watched WrestleMania in like 15 years, I think, since I lived with them. But just because it was free on ESPN, he was able to tune in, and he actually ended up watching both nights of WrestleMania because of it.
Oh, wow.
So he's calling my son, and he's like, "Hey, did you see this?" Because he knew my son would get excited about it. But yeah, it was super smart on their part. Like back in the day, what was it, the free for all?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, man. And we had Jacob Fatu defeating Drew McIntyre, unsanctioned match. Ricky, what are your thoughts on that one?
I think that was the right move, and obviously with what happened on Monday Night Raw, they're moving forward with Jacob. Drew McIntyre is already a main event guy, so you can plug him in whenever you need someone in that role. It's nice that they're building Jacob on, so I think he just needed the win more, and I think that was my predictions were pretty spot on. From the last podcast, I did have Orton over Cody, but everything else hit for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as you joined in, we were talking about the women's tag team championships, the Fatal 4-Way. Paige would end up coming on, with the injury to Nikki, and we would see Brie Bella and Paige win the tag team championships. Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, you had Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, and of course Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Lots of action in there. What were your thoughts on that battle?
I thought it was pretty cool, and it was awesome to see Paige back. I think she looked really good.
Yeah.
The Rampage at the end, she did it so perfectly. So I always like Paige, and I just kind of wish her, she's gone through a turbulence in her personal life, in wrestling. So it was cool to see her back, and I didn't mind it at all.
And as we get into a new match here that we haven't discussed yet, it was the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. We would see Becky Lynch defeat AJ Lee. In my opinion, it was a little short. It felt like it was kind of cut short. And it could have been due to time constraints or something else that they had planned. But, other than falling, a little short, I think, it was solid for what it was. It was brief, like I said, but, I didn't think AJ Lee was really going to take it anyway. So it was kind of just a quick, all right, let's get Becky the win and get on our way with the card. So what are your thoughts? We'll start with Jay Bo.
I agree. It was much shorter than I anticipated. I thought this was kind of the blow off to a pretty lengthy feud. So I guess I was expecting a little bit more, to be honest. 'Cause I like both of those. I like Becky and AJ. So had high expectations for it. It fell a little short, but I guess they had to get all those commercials in. So maybe that's why they couldn't let them go a little bit longer.
Right. Joe, how about you?
Yeah, when the entrances overshadow what happened in the ring, having AJ come out with a bunch of kids and they're all skipping down the ring, that was cool. Becky with the live band coming out. Again, the pageantry, right? It was great, but it overshadowed the match. And like you said, the amount of commercials, and I'll go into that at the end of the segment when we talk about the end of night one. But yeah, look at that could have been a Monday Night Raw match. That could have been a SmackDown match. I think it took a spot of something that maybe, I don't know. I wasn't that vested in it, honestly. And it's a shame because, I mean, Becky Lynch is one of the best women out there right now. And AJ Lee, look, she hasn't missed a step since she's come back. She looked great, but I wasn't that interested in it. I wasn't that interested in it when it started. Maybe if Seth had stuck around and wasn't injured and him and CM Punk were able to actually have a program and it just kind of followed in, it might have made a little bit more to it to me. But yeah, I mean, good match for what it was.
Yeah. Ricky.
Yeah, it was a short match. I don't know if there's limitations because of time or AJ Lee, she's been gone for such a long time and she's back, but it's not like she's having matches every week. There's still some rust there. Becky Lynch, probably one of the best female wrestlers of all time. I think it's a right move to get the belt back on her. She's brought a lot of attention to the IC belt. So I think it's the right move, and she's on TV every week. So there'll be more challengers, more people she can put over. So I was okay with that.
I feel overall night one was, it was definitely solid. I didn't dislike anything per se, but I felt that it, like Joe said, it kind of felt like a glorified Monday Night Raw or maybe a smaller pay-per-view. It didn't, or PLE, sorry. It didn't feel like WrestleMania, other than the pageantry, the entrances, of course, and it being in a stadium. The card, it just didn't feel like an actual WrestleMania until we got over to night two. It started to pick up, and I thought night two was tremendous, and we'll get into that. But next up, we saw Gunther defeat Seth Rollins. You have the big return of Braun Breaker, which I thought was great. I thought that was an awesome shot with him running down the aisle and doing that crazy spear, like only he can. I mean, as we talked about in the other episode leading up to WrestleMania, they had it originally a tag team match plan. They had to trim it down to this. So there wasn't too much going into it. It was kind of just thrown together. I think that Gunther should have got the win. So I think they picked the right guy there. Keep him, he's hot right now, retiring everybody. And, so they made the right choice. And, it wasn't a bad match, but to me, it just wasn't anything spectacular. How about you, Ricky?
I'm okay with the decision and, the way it happened too with Braun Breaker. Now you're setting that up for, Summer Feud until they blow that off. And you're right. You keep Gunther strong. Hopefully maybe we get the Brock Lesnar and Gunther matchup if he's not really retired. But yeah, that was the right call for sure.
Yeah. Joe?
Yeah. Look, this was all about bringing Breaker back. This was all about the way to bring Braun Breaker back. I have been extremely vocal about Seth Rollins on my show in the past on his entrances, his outfits, just the ridiculousness of what he's been wearing. This time around with the all black eyes, I love that. The actual smoking jacket was off the hook. If there was any way that he could have worked with the contact in his eyes, it would have just brought a whole new element to him. This was one of the first times I could put over his gear as he came down to the ring. I mean, strong on my end. And like I said, I've been extremely vocal and really hard on him. It would be hard to be in a room with him, how bad I've ripped him apart on that stuff. But again, it was all in a sense to bring Braun back. That guy, for the amount of time he was off with that hernia, that hiatal hernia, to come back and look that good was amazing. That guy is a specimen. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, good to see him back. He didn't lose a step.
Yeah. How about you, Jay?
Yeah, that was my favorite match of night one. And I kind of thought it was going to be going into the show. With having Braun, that was a perfect out to beat Seth. No harm done to him. get Gunther a win. I think he lost the last 2 years at Mania. I know he lost to Sammy last year, so it's good to see Gunther get the win at Mania. I'm a big Gunther guy, so I was happy with the outcome, and I'm looking forward to the Braun and Seth. I think this will be good opportunity for Braun to break through and kind of be firmly as a main event top tier guy coming out of this upcoming feud with Seth. So I'm looking forward to see where that goes and see where Gunther where we go with Gunther. If Brock's done, I don't know what's next for Gunther, but we'll see.
And next up, we had the Hall of Fame segment. They're introduced in front of the crowd, which is always one of my favorite moments. I like to see them come out, get that pop in front of the huge audience. I thought it was a little odd. They played Stephanie's music. They played AJ's music. They always just play one person's theme, and that's usually the headliner. So, if you're going to play two, well, you might as well play Demolition's music at that point. And I think that would have been awesome. Demolition's music playing in front of the stadium. So I don't know. I thought that was strange. Why play two out of three? Because obviously the other two had passed away. So you might as well just play it for everybody that was there. But it is what it is. Hall of Fame was good in my opinion. I think the speeches were really good. Stephanie's speech was great. Her daughters, Linda, they all had wonderful speeches. Dennis Rodman was exactly what we expected, but it was crazy. But it was emotional for him too, to see him reacting that way for Hogan, and that was pretty cool. And then overall, obviously AJ Styles was great. I think that was a good teaching moment in his speech, and then just Demolition being able to see them, finally go into the Hall of Fame. Sid and Bad News Brown. Bad News Brown's family was okay with it. They understood. Sid's family not happy with it, and I don't blame them. It's too bad that there couldn't have been a little bit more, like they've done in the past with a Big Boss Man or, a Junkyard Dog. Have a speech, a family member, accept the award. It doesn't have to be long, but it also doesn't have to be 75 seconds. You know what I mean? So that was a little disappointing for me. But from there, Liv Morgan defeats Stephanie Vakir. It was the Women's World Championship. I enjoyed that match. I've enjoyed their program. I think in the past couple of weeks it's really heated up, and they've done a great job getting that together and getting the interest built, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Liv Morgan victorious, and she's just so hot right now. I think that was the right decision. How about you, Joe?
Look at coming out to her new music, that new song that she has trouble, her single that was released. Again, pageantry, right? It's all about it. It's like watching the Super Bowl, right? You wait for the commercials. I love watching the entrances. I want to see where they're going to be. This is the Super Bowl of pro wrestling, so they need to go all out. Stephanie Vakir, her entrance anyway is amazing. Her presence alone. And then to have the two of them, this was the match that actually, out of all the matches on night one, had the most story behind it that was solid the whole way through. We didn't throw it together. It had been building and building and building up until the last week before. And at that point, it was blowing up. Liv Morgan's had the wild eyes getting ready to get into this. They were ready to tear each other apart. And I think they delivered. I thought it was great. The interference with Roxanne and Raquel was great. Everything about it, I thought it delivered exactly what it was supposed to. For a match, and the fact that it was for the women's world title was dynamite. I thought that was fantastic. I wish they had actually were able to be a headline main event of one of the nights, because I think they could have really delivered if they gave them a little bit more time on it too. I think the whole night was rushed because it seemed like they tried to throw so much stuff in at once, and then again, like we talked about with the commercials. I think that hurt them a little bit, and but I think that was a great match.
I was surprised to see that a women's match did not headline one of the nights. Because it's been such high profile over the past few years, you would think maybe they would at least put that spot for one of them, but it is what it is. How about you, Ricky? What'd you think of that match?
I thought it was pretty good, as advertised. Liv is just so hot right now. That entrance was wild. I felt like I was like watching Britney Spears. It caught me off guard. And my son's watching, and he's like, "Oh, what's it's just like some touching and clothes being ripped off." I'm like, "We're gonna have another Janet Jackson incident." But the match was good. I think Stephanie, she was so hot. She won the title, and after she got it, I felt like there was like kind of like a drop off there, and the whole Liv thing definitely picked it back up, but it was just a little too late for her to, that I just feel like she lost a lot of steam. So I like Liv. I like what she's doing, and she's so hated, which is great, but people love her at the same time, which makes for a pretty good heel. And just to touch on the Hall of Fame, I was so disappointed with the Sid stuff, man. And then I was disappointed before his family even spoke up. Like, it's Sid. Like, what is going on? I'm trying to figure out, like, what happened? Who does he have heat with? There has to be more to that story. This guy was a world champion. He dominated everywhere he went. And like you said, Joe, get his kids up there. Give them 5 minutes, man. That's it. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Cut the mic if you have to, if they're running over time. But he definitely deserved better than that.
That's too bad. Yeah, it's it's over now. We can't redo it. So it's like that was it. That was the last time we'll probably have anything Sid related. And like his son brought up, Gunner, in the WWE World Shop Zone area, there was no Sid merchandise at all. No mention of Sid. You had tons of Dennis Rodman merchandise. It's like, man, I think if there was Sid merchandise, people would buy it right up. They should have had the Sid figures, the T-shirts, get some hats, maybe some mugs or something. People would definitely jump right on it. So I just don't understand that. And if you're gonna do it for Dennis Rodman, you kind of have to release something for everybody, I feel. But it is what it is. Jay, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to vent my frustration with the Sid thing as well, because I believe it was two main events at WrestleMania. He main evented WrestleMania twice, which is kind of rarefied air. And he was like, when you're younger, he was a larger than life guy, and he was a badass. I remember I had his WCW action figure. They were smaller, kind of hard plastic ones. I always loved Sid. I just thought he was like so intense, really intense, believable guy. And yeah, I don't know the politics of it if somebody doesn't like him or whatever, but Stephanie certainly had her fair share of time. So I think they could have found a way to work Sid in there and maybe cut her down to like 55 minutes instead of 60. But as far as the Liv Morgan match, I agree with you guys. Like, Liv's red hot right now, so go with it. Stephanie definitely has cooled off a little bit, but I think she's definitely going to be a main event act going forward. But right now she's cooled off a little bit for sure. So they made the right call. Liv's on fire, so ride it while it's hot.
The one thing I did like is they kind of gave Stephanie more of a vicious side for us to see, leading into that match, where she attacked her from behind. And, we hadn't really seen that from her. She was just kind of very calm and cool and collective, and she'd do her thing. And so it was kind of cool to see that side of her. So maybe we'll see more of that as we move forward. The main event for night one, of course, Cody Rhodes defeating Randy Orton, the WWE Championship on the line. Pat McAfee, of course, involved, which I like Pat McAfee, but I didn't like him in this role. It didn't fit. It felt weird. It felt off right from the get-go. I understand why they did it. They were trying to get those extra crossover fans. I get it, but it just wasn't a good fit. It didn't really make sense. And even in the match itself, it just seemed silly, the spots that he was involved in and his glasses flying off and stuff. It was just, I don't know. I just was not into him at all in this segment. Like I said, I am a fan, but it just didn't work for me. Cody Rhodes taking it home. I'm okay with that. He's the guy right now, and it'd be interesting to see what they do with him moving forward. How long is he going to stay babyface? Will he make that turn, as we're starting to see, some different sides of Cody, and things are changing a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. And how about you, Ricky? What are you thinking?
I'm still confused. I have no idea. We got the RKO at the end. I have no idea. It was better than Travis Scott.
Yes, it was
from last year. Hopefully we get some closure, or I don't know. I haven't listened to McAfee this week. I don't know if there was something there on his end. Did he say something? I have no idea. But it just, like you said, it just felt weird. It just felt at the end, like the match finished. He punts him. Cody got some cut, like gruesome, cut over his eye. That was pretty cool, but it just felt odd. I thought Orton was gonna win. You give him the belt, he gets another run, maybe a rematch down the road, SummerSlam. But I'm okay with Cody taking that. They're probably gonna have a rematch next month. Well, whenever the next PLE is, so maybe Orton gets it there. Who knows? But you are kind of seeing Cody slowly turning. Eventually maybe we'll get that heel run, but that's their guy right now. So he moves merch. The kids love him. The theme song's over, so it's hard to pull the trigger when you have that many things going for you.
Joe, what are you thinking?
Honestly, this match didn't need Pat McAfee. Didn't need anybody but Cody and Randy. That whole story's been there, and they didn't even tell it. They really just scratched the surface on it. And Ricky, to your point, the last thing you want to be is confused in anything. This should all just make sense. It's pro wrestling. We lay it out so that it makes perfect sense. I don't understand why Randy went ahead and RKO'd Pat during it. I get the fact that why Jelly Roll was involved and did his little spot, and I really thought it was going to lead up to a tag team match with Cody and Jelly against Randy and Pat. Looks like that's not going to happen now. So, like, where is it going? Why was it going anyway? And I agree. Randy should have won. I think Randy should have taken title number 15, run number 15. And I think he should have been, that should be his story now, is trying to chase to get number 18 and beat Cena's. And there's so much there that can be told. And I just think they left so much on the table. And then, Cody got busted open so bad between the back of his head and his eye. He got cranked. Kudos to that guy. The only thing Monday night when he came out and approached Punk, he should have left the glasses on till he got in the ring and taken them off. The same way he took the robe off when he had the pec tear. I think the shock value of seeing his eye in the ring, take the glasses off before he spoke, they missed an opportunity there. But other than that, yeah, the match didn't deliver what I thought it was going to.
How about you, Jay?
I hated this. Totally hated it. And ever since Cody came back to WWE, I was waiting for the eventual, the feud with Randy was going to happen at some point, and I was waiting for it, and it just, to throw McAfee in there just made no sense. And I'm a sports fan, so I have like this Pat McAfee fatigue, because every time I turn on ESPN or the radio, whatever, YouTube, it's like this guy's everywhere. I don't mind him. He's fine. I think he's better as like a babyface announcer doing the yeet and all that stuff, as opposed to the heel. Just seems like he's putting on an act, because then you know this guy's not the character that he's trying to be like. So super disappointing on so many levels. They're teasing the Cody turn, but WrestleMania, I feel like if you're going to do something like that, that's the time to actually pull the trigger. But maybe they want a slow burn, and that's fine. And then the post-match attack does not feel like a WrestleMania going off the air type of ending to me. That feels like a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown ending, where the loser, whacks the guy with the belt and beats him up after the bell rings. So it just, all in all, it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I really like both those guys, so I was disappointed in that match.
One thing, Joe, I just want to jump in. We talked about the Cody turn, and everybody's kind of waiting for the Cody turn. The only thing I have a problem with the Cody turn now is who takes his place, who's ready to take that spot, because we really don't have it. You got LA Knight in the wings, Jey Uso's now back as a tag team. You need that foil, you need that heel. Oh, that baby face now to offset that heel. If he turns heel now, we're not ready yet. And I think they'll make a big mistake, I think, if they turn him now without having somebody ready. And I think they missed the spot. They put Jey Uso in the spot that I think LA Knight could have taken, and probably could have been that guy. I think they made the wrong choice. And nothing against Jey, Jay's a tag team guy. It makes more sense to have him with the family and the bloodline and his brother and all that. That just fits. He did great and he's done great, but I think LA Knight should have been the guy. And if he was, I think then you could really push that turn now.
Yeah. Well, they need to tighten the ropes if it's going to be LA Knight. You know what I mean? Flip one up the ropes a couple times.
100%.
You know,
No, you're absolutely right, Joe. They have no one. I'm not a LA Knight guy. Like I'm not a fan. Like he doesn't do it for me.
But he's the closest that they have right now.
You're 100% right.
That's the problem. Yeah.
I even said it. I'm like, Royal Rumble, go with LA Knight. And I don't even like him, but it just makes sense. And he's hot.
Yes.
He's been hot. They're afraid to pull the trigger with this guy. And yeah, he slips and falls off the ropes, but everything else, he checks every single box. He's good on the mic. He looks fantastic. He's a good in-ring work, way better than Jey Uso. It's not even close. Jey Uso's just an entrance. That's it. He's just an entrance.
100%.
And by the time he gets to the ring, he's blown up.
He's all blown up.
He's all.
Pat McAfee can yeet longer than he can.
Absolutely, but they're absolutely right. That was the guy to do it with, and they were afraid to.
I feel like Damian Priest might be one that they could kind of bump up to that next level and maybe give him a shot. You know,
another shot.
Well, you know, maybe he's been laying low lately, so maybe they're kind of just getting him primed up and ready to rock and roll, or we'll see him on Main Event. I'm not sure, but
they keep hitting the brakes on him though. They get him going, then they pump the brakes on him, and they lose their steam. There's a guy who's never been hurt. They get him going, and then they pull him back for some reason. And I think he's a strong. He could be really, really strong if they actually just release the reins and let him go.
Yeah. Next up, we saw Obafemi defeating Brock Lesnar. You know, like I said on the other WrestleMania show leading into this, you know, I didn't agree with that being on the free show. I mean, that was one of the big ones that people wanted to see. Doesn't make any sense in the world to me to put it on the free hour, but they did. And I thought it was perfect the way it kind of panned out. You know, Lesnar passing the torch. It wasn't just a quick, I don't know. It wasn't that long, but it didn't feel like just a quick, squash match. They actually were going back and forth, and it really showcased Oba, as a monster and as the new guy. And I thought they did a good job of it. So Obafemi takes it. Lesnar retires. You know, now I'm seeing stuff online that he's not, but I think if I had to guess, I would think that was genuine. Who knows what that stuff is online, if it's true or not. I mean, it wouldn't make sense. Why are you going to do that with your boots and everything? And then, so I will have to see what happens with that. But I'm a huge Lesnar fan. I'd be disappointed if he came back after that because it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, that was the end. We accepted it. It was really well done. It was emotional. The fans were invested in it. So to come back for another match would be kind of strange. But, I thought that match was great. What do you guys think? We'll start with Jay.
Yeah, and I think for Lesnar to go out that way is a lot more memorable than if they do the Gunther, another guy that Gunther ends his career. I mean, I don't know. I get why they do that with Gunther, but I think if I was Brock, I would rather go out the way he did, where it's like, all right, the torch has been passed to the next guy, and this is WrestleMania, ESPN, retire right there, and kind of for the shock factor. You lose the shock factor if he's facing Gunther because you kind of know what's going to happen. So I do like the way that Brock retired there. And the match for what it was fine. I like Obafemi. I'm excited. Maybe he can be the next baby face to take over if they do end up turning Cody. I like the fact that they're taking a new talent and really pushing him into, really taking him seriously. The guy looks great. Love the strut. Love everything about him. So I'm really excited to see what's in store for him because he's going to be. I don't see how they can mess him up. I'm looking forward to it.
And you don't want to give him too much too soon, but over time, I mean, he could be the one that they're kind of grooming to get ready to go into that, championship position with, Cody and Orton and kind of maybe being the next guy. He's certainly over enough to be able to do it. But, like I said, you don't want to go, full steam ahead right away. You want to kind of ease it in. But how about you, Ricky?
Yeah, so I was at a WrestleMania where Undertaker lost to Roman Reigns and he took his gloves off and we were like, "Oh, he's done." And guess what? He came back. So I don't I would like a little twist to it. So, Gunther tells Paul Heyman his favor, he wants to retire. Brock Lesnar, he wants to be the guy. Get him out there, but just have Brock beat him. Everyone goes into the match thinking, oh, this is it. Another guy who's going to retire in Minnesota for SummerSlam, and actually have Brock just beat him. And then down the road, have him one last run. I don't know what Lesnar wants to do, but I would go in that direction if possible, just to kind of throw like a curveball. Oba is over as you can be, from the entrance. He's good in ring. He looks the part. Like you said, Joe, I just don't want him for them to throw everything at him too soon. I think when that happens, people get like fatigued and they'll start turning on him, or oh, this guy just got here, now he's getting world title matches and other people have been waiting for so long, that kind of thing. I think with Oba, just use him more like as an attraction right now. He came out on Raw. It was sweet, short, everything. Just keep doing that for a while, feed him some opponents and just build it up. It doesn't have to be right away with him. He's hot. He'll stay hot that way.
I got to say, though, Oba, I feel like they made a little mistake on Raw. He's got such an impressive look. To come out in the suit, to me, right when he walked out, I was like, what? I mean, that corporate look does not go with what Oba Femi is, what they're trying to showcase him as. So, and especially this early, maybe if he was turning heel down the line and, he's going to be the corporate guy, but to come out in a suit when that you never wear a suit, I don't know. It just didn't feel right. It wasn't showcasing his look. It wasn't showcasing who he is. So I thought that was a little strange, but that's just my 2 cents. But how about you, Joe? What did you think about the match?
Look, Ova Femi is exactly that. This guy has it. And I'll tell you what, I was completely against it being him and Brock in the beginning. I said, no way. He's been here for a cup of coffee on the main roster. There's no way he could do it. They won me over because of Brock. Brock has been able to just a look sometimes. He look what he did for Keith Lee before Keith Lee ever did anything. He came walking out during the Rumble, and just the look that Brock, that did more for his career than anything he ever did in the ring. Brock Lesnar is an amazing talent when it comes to putting other guys over. He will make you believe in other people by the way he does. I thought the match was great. I thought it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Won me over completely, and again, I was on the fence. I'm like, I don't know how they're going to make this work. Brock is just, it's just a testament to how good he is. Ricky, I love the idea of Gunther going to Heyman saying that this is what he wants, that, Heyman said it, whatever, you just let me know. And I love that idea that he's going to say, I want Lesnar, and then throw the spin on it, let Lesnar beat him, because Gunther's can't be hurt. He's Teflon at this point. Gunther is just they've got to really put him on a good trajectory, but I think it won't hurt him losing to Brock, especially if Brock walks away after that. And it would make sense and again, it's all about making sense. So dynamite match, dynamite idea, Ricky. I hope they're listening.
Intercontinental Championship.
You get a payday.
Yeah. The men's IC title, of course, a 6-man ladder match. Penta retains the championship. You had Javon Evans, you had Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, Rusev, JD McDonough. Great chaotic match. Everything I expected it to be. Some great spots. Showcased each person in that match well, I thought. And, it was great to see them giving a little bit to Rusev, because I didn't know if he was just going to kind of be thrown in there, but they showcased him as well. And, my prediction was Penta was going to take it, and he did. And, I think that was important for his position. I think, you don't want to just win the belt and then all of a sudden you're losing the belt to the next guy. They're keeping him, they're sticking with him, they're putting their money invested in him. And I think that was a good call. How about you, Jay?
Yeah, I liked it because it got 6 guys on the card. But as far as ladder matches go, I feel like we've kind of done it all at this point. I wouldn't mind if they tried a different multi-man match. Maybe like one of the Iron Survivor that they were doing a while back in NXT. I kind of like that. But yeah, Penta's the right choice to win. I don't know. I get like nervous watching these ladder matches. Like someone's gonna get hurt, and it's like, I don't know. I don't enjoy. I don't know. I just don't enjoy it. I'm always like waiting for something bad to happen. So, but I like all those guys, and yeah, Penta definitely has the appeal, worldwide appeal. He should be the guy with the IC title right now. And it was an entertaining match, but like I said, I feel like we've done it all with the ladder matches. I don't know what else there's to do with those things. And you also have the Money in the Bank coming up at some point too. So maybe if they could mix it up with a different style multi-man match, because I like the fact that you get more guys on WrestleMania, but maybe just find a different way to do so.
Yeah. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, look, at this was a car crash, exactly what it was supposed to be. And it was exciting and it was fun and it was dangerous. And, you had your heart in your throat a few times. Penta was the right guy to go over, no doubt. I think that was correct. I was worried because WWE is very much into records and like, being the first or being this or being the youngest. And I really thought Javon Evans, and look, I wouldn't have been upset if he was to have come away with it, because he didn't have to beat Penta Penta didn't have to lose in order for somebody else to get a hands on it. So this would have been the perfect opportunity to put it on someone like Javon, who, again, that kid's a superstar, right? In the future. Would have been too soon? It could have been, but to put it in the record books as the youngest IC champion, I could see WWE doing that just for that purpose. But all in all, Penta, and look, this showcased Rusev very well, because especially coming back Monday night, he's seriously in this title picture. And he showed it. He didn't have to do all the crazy stuff that the other guys were doing, but he was still very much a presence in this match, which I loved. And yeah, Penta comes away with it. Great choice.
Ricky.
Yeah, love Penta. That was my prediction. With Javon Evans, it's funny. I was thinking the same thing, Joe. I'm like, they're gonna put it on him because they said it a few times. The funny thing is, I think he still could go another year and a half and still be the youngest IC title holder. So there's definitely a lot of time there. So I'm super happy they didn't rush it. Jay, to your point, I think it's because we're getting older, man. Because I get nervous watching these matches as well. And as a kid, like the Hardys, Dudleys, Edge and Christian, I did not care. I'm like, I love the car crash. And now I'm watching, I'm like, oh my God. Like, what's coming. The Mexican destroyers coming. And I'm like, oh shit, he might get hurt. So I think we're just getting older, man. But what I did hate about this match was the spot with Javon and the OG cutter. Why is Rusev jumping off the ladder? What? Like, it just doesn't make sense. You're right there. Have the guy jump. You watch him go down. You go, you grab the title, and it's over. So I know it's a spot, but if there was like a way they can actually like position Rusev where it just made more sense. I hate watching stuff like that. And then the replay clearly shows him just jumping off the ladder to take the cutter. It looked awesome, right? But at the same time, I'm like, come on, guys, we got to do a little better than that. But Penta, definitely the right choice. He's extremely hot. He moves merch. With the AAA thing going on too, he just appeals to everyone. And the whole mass luchador thing. My son is literally at school at his spring concert, and I got a video of this, which is awesome. And he's looking at us and he just throws up the Cero Miedo. And my wife's like, it looks like he's making like gang signs or something. I'm like, no, it's wrestling. She's like, they don't know that. So, he just appeals to everyone. He's such a fun character. So Penta for the win. I love it. And hopefully he has, a pretty long reign here.
I do feel like a miss for this year's WrestleMania was kind of a lack of showcasing NXT and AAA. I feel like there should have been, even if it was just a quick, spot where they're, promoting it and really showing it. There was really no mention of NXT and AAA with all the eyes on WWE right now. If you want to get AAA over, I think that this would have been the perfect opportunity to really push something AAA related, but I don't know. And it kind of seems like NXT is kind of slowly going by the wayside. I don't want to see that happen. So hopefully they kind of pick these two up and bring them along for the ride, because it seems like we're starting to lose them a little bit. And they're both special, I think, entities. So we don't want it to turn into some little like what Ring of Honor has turned into with AEW. It's kind of swept under the mat. And It's like, I don't want to see that. But
look, you had the pre-shows. We could have put one of each on each night.
Yeah.
To showcase, just so that other people got a spot and were able to see. You could easily. There's a couple of matches we could have done without.
Yeah. How about like what I was thinking, Joe? To your point is the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Move that to WrestleMania. You're getting everyone a chance to shine. You throw in some more NXT guys. I think the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on SmackDown did have some AAA guys in it. So then they get a chance to be a part of the show. And WrestleMania, like night 2 ended pretty early. Like,
right.
I'm sure you could extend it. I don't think it's a time constraint with them. I think if they want to go 4 hours, shit, we get AEW pay-per-views that last like a full work shift.
Yeah.
So, and you move that, and that, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal was something that was kind of special when it started, and then, who won it last year? Carmelo. Like, what happened after that? It's nothing. It's like, oh, you win it, and that's it. It's forgotten. It's hard. You can't carry that trophy around, but there should be a little more. Maybe if you win that Battle Royal, you get a shot at, the IC title, the US, whatever it might be. But that's a good way to get more people, more eyeballs on the product.
Yeah. I feel like it should never have been moved to SmackDown. It just makes no sense. Right when it happened, it's like, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. But it just, takes the lure away from the Andre Battle Royal. Nobody cares if there's no meaning behind it. But United States title. We saw Sami Zayn defeated by Trick Williams. Not a surprise there in my eyes. Trick is definitely up and coming. He's the full package. He's got it going on. The fans are behind him. And Sami Zayn was kind of just a filler. And I think it was pretty noticeable when they gave him that. It was like, okay, well, he's going to hold that for, for somebody else. How about you, Ricky?
I hated the whole build up to this I'm not a Sami Zayn guy. So right off the bat, I hated it, but just, man, Melo put in so much work over the last few months to have that spot taken. He wasn't even on the show. That sucks, man. And Trick win. He's so over. I know he was going to be like this heel coming in, but he's so over with the fans that you can't really stop that. So they have to run with it. Yeah. But I'm okay with the finish. That's what I wanted, but the whole thing sucked from the start.
How about you, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, Melo and Trick, you get the story. There's a built-in story there, so that would have been cool. Maybe they didn't want to throw it together quickly and use that feud already, but that would have been awesome to see. Speaking of AAA, maybe get Sammy back under the El Generico mask and send him down there for a while, because he needs like a fresh coat of paint. I just feel like he's just been, I don't know, he's just been on our TV screen too much, and that just happens. I actually do like him, but right now he just feels very stale. And Trick's got the it factor. You see him doing the media and stuff like that, and he just seems like a natural. So I'm really excited to see where he goes in the future. And I'm sure this is the first of many WrestleManias for Trick Williams. I think he'll be a main event WrestleMania guy. And like you said, though, NXT has really been kind of raided here. So we'll see where NXT goes from here, especially even Monday. We had some call-ups on Monday. So NXT's getting a little thin. So hopefully they have some guys ready to step in there and step up.
How about you, Joe?
Yeah, remember when I said that we could do with a couple of matches not on the main card? This is one of them. Sami Zayn ain't doing it for me anymore. He's enough with the underdog, enough with that. He's a transition champion. I knew when they took it off Carmelo, it was going to go right to Trick, because they're not ready to pull the trigger with Trick and Carmelo yet. Carmelo's better as the chase. You know what I mean? The money's all in the chase with him anyway. I think he's going to look. He's a local guy. All right, we love this guy. There's no doubt. And they haven't been doing a lot with him to get me excited. I think this is what's going to do it for me. Trick's going to have the championship. Let Melo chase him for it, and the feud that they could have, the story that they can tell, as long as they don't go by the way of Randy and Cody, you got a winner here. But again, that could have been on the pre-show, and I would have been fine with that.
Now, would you have Melo as a heel?
No, absolutely not. Trick is a better heel. He's a natural born heel, and the people are going to cheer him, but he can easily just shoot him down and spin that crowd back and have Melo be the guy that's in the chase. I think that's where the money is. Eventually, look at Trick is so good. With the whoop that Trick, everybody's into it. They're all into it, but they've been into it with Jericho. They've been into it with the guys that, the big names. And all it takes is them to spin the crowd and say a couple, get them to boo. That's all you need. And then the next guy who comes through the curtain, doesn't matter if it's the janitor, they're going to cheer him. So, I mean, it's just what happens. They know how to do it. And I just think that's the feud. And I think that's the one that's going to elevate Trick and Melo to the next level when that happens.
John Cena, special guest host of WrestleMania, both nights. It is what it is. That's what happens with the host. You see him once or twice, and I thought it was fine. Got a great pop. Kind of awkward that they put him in a suit. He couldn't run to the ring. He tried to run to the ring, but just because you're the host doesn't mean you have to wear a suit. I think everybody would have been fine with regular John Cena, but I think he did a great job. And the Danhausen spot with the Miz was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I knew, I talked on the other episode. I knew it was going to be Danhausen and John Cena. I had a feeling, and I was excited to see it actually pan out. I think they're doing a great job with Dan. Like we kind of talked about before, I feel like moving forward, they have to be careful, though, because you don't want it to get stale and you don't want to do the same thing. So at least he got a little physical in this one. So we're starting to see some funny things. And, that went over huge, with the "You Can't See Me." So maybe that's something he takes on with the blessing of John Cena and kind of uses that. Or maybe that was just a one-off. But I think him getting more physical, even, physical comedy is fine. But we need to definitely keep that going. And I think he's number one in merch sales. So he's doing something right. And the fans love him. And, yeah, it's just awesome that he's there and that WWE's investing their time in him for sure. The Miz, obviously, that's the perfect spot for him. He's always involved in that. He's so giving. He's always, great with the new talent and making other people look good. The Miz is so underrated. I mean, what he does for the business and what he does for other talent, it's never really about him. And he's such a great character, and his in-ring work is awesome, So up next, a street fight. I thought this was ass backwards going into it. The surprise should not have been the street fight. The surprise should have been the Demon. The Demon should not have been advertised. If you advertised that it was a street fight, people would be super excited. Okay, wow, this is a big fight feel. That's all you needed. And then you hit them with the Demon nobody was expecting. Instead, they announced the Demon and then just, oh yeah, it's a street fight, by the way. It's like, I don't know. It was weird to me. It was a good match. I was happy with it. Finn definitely needed to win, and he did. So, Demon Finn defeating Dominic Mysterio. Dom's been getting a lot of victories lately, both in AAA and WWE. So I think he needed that loss just to kind of bring him down to reality, for a short period of time there. But very happy with that match. I thought it was great. And, what'd you guys think, Joe?
Yeah, look, they totally missed the boat by announcing the Demon. 100%. That would have put the place over the edge. I think that would have stolen the show if all of a sudden the heartbeat started and that absolutely, no matter what you did after that, it would have never compared to it. I think everyone's been anticipating that for the last few years. And they jumped the shark announcing that first. And I think they were trying to, that just shows the desperation of ticket sales as far as I'm concerned. Great match. I loved how they freshened up Finn. He trimmed the beard down low, which I've never liked the thick beard on him because of it It shows his jawline up a little bit better this way. And when he puts the makeup on, it does cut in perfect. So I was glad that they were able to do that. He's got a little bit of a more of a, I don't know, just with that, the shadow makes him look more menacing to me. It's a better look for him. And I think now he's broken away from that old character, away from the Judgment Day. And I want to see him get a run again. Unfortunately, he was on a trajectory to go to the moon and he got hurt. And it stopped him for what? Almost 8 years, 7 years. So, I mean, time to put the gas on this guy again, because this kid can go and he's still got a lot left. And the win over Dominic was awesome. And it's just going to lead to more story as they go with him and JD. So again, it's going to elevate JD up to the next level. And I think that Finn should be in the contenders matches back up for the world championships.
I would love to see a program with Cody Rhodes and Demon Finn Balor, or Finn Balor in general. And you could even do like a Stardust Demon, even if it was a one-off, but like more of a serious Stardust, you know what I mean? And I think that would be pretty awesome doing something like that. But, Ricky, what did you think of the match?
I thought it was good. Finn Balor desperately needed that win. I'm happy to see that he won that match, and then he got another win on Monday Night Raw. For the last few years, this guy he's been the Brooklyn Brawler. Every time he was out there, he was eating a pin. Even in tag matches, he's eating pins. It blew my mind because Finn Balor was just so hot coming up from NXT, and if it wasn't for that injury with Seth Rollins, who knows? He could have main evented a couple of WrestleManias by now. He's a great talent. He's good on the mic. He looks like $1 million. Those abs are, they've been there the whole time. Every time you listen to like his interviews, this guy doesn't even have like cheat meals, no sugar for like 4 months. Like he's super intense about his workouts, his dieting. I think he still has plenty of gas left in the tank. So I hope they do something with him moving forward, but we will soon find out.
Well, you mentioned Brooklyn Brawler. I mean, maybe we'll see Demon against Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. Let's not rule that out.
That would be solid. Maybe a little SummerSlam action for that one.
Jay, what'd you think?
I totally agree with what you guys are saying. I love Finn, and I'd love to see him at the top of the card. It was a little disappointing. Like the one time they recently was when he fought Punk at that February pay-per-view when you knew he wasn't going to win because, you had Punk and Roman coming up for Mania. So I would like to see them go back to that. I do want to see a Finn Balor run as the world champion. And I know we almost had, was it 2015, 2016 SummerSlam where he won the first Universal title and got injured. I'm not sure, but it's been a long time. So I think he's shown that he's been a team guy, WWE loyal soldier. So let's give him his due before it's too late. So I'm with you guys. Love Finn. He's the man.
Up next, we had the WWE Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley defeating Jade Cargill. We saw the interference. We saw Io Sky at the end there. Io Sky's got to be careful. She's got to settle it down a little bit. She landed right on her head a couple weeks ago. And then on Monday Night Raw this past Monday, she also landed on her neck again. I don't know if you saw that. And it's just like, man, you maybe cut that spot out for a few weeks and just kind of, get back into the groove. I don't want to see anything bad happen. You know what I mean? Every time that happens, I'm like, I can't look, it's scary because anything can happen at any moment. But Rhea Ripley, I think, was the right decision. She's obviously super over, one of the most over in the company. Jade Cargill's got the look, but she's not super over. People are not really, invested quite yet. I mean, they could continue on to build her up into, something bigger. Who knows? Hopefully it gets better for her. But I just feel like, she's just not connecting with a lot of the fans. She's got an awesome entrance, awesome look, but she just has to kind of sharpen her skills. And I guess this is how she does it. But, you got to do it by getting out there and doing it every week. And hopefully over time, things go, the way she wants them to go. But Rhea Ripley, the right decision in my book. How about you, Jay?
Yeah, definitely the right decision. I think this was the best Jade Cargill match I've probably ever seen. And again, she never really had the NXT. She never had the training when she was in AEW. They weren't doing any house shows or anything like that. So she didn't really get reps in. She wasn't in NXT, or I don't think it was in NXT. No. So she she just needs more ring experience. She looks great. And Rhea, I thought Rhea got a good match out of her, and not too much else to add. I'm glad, Rhea deserves to be the champ. She's the top female in the company, so she should. Glad she got her WrestleMania title win there, and we'll see what's next for her.
Joe?
Yeah, definitely. This is exactly how it should have gone. I expected Rhea to carry that match and make Jade look good, and she did. I like the fact that they got Jade with Michin and B-Fab. I kind of think that it helps a little bit of a distraction. And when are we going to finally just name them bitchin'? You got Michin and B-Fab. Just call them bitchin' and be done with it. The merch will sell. Make it right. I've been calling this out for months. But Jade, I think Jade, like you said, a little more seasoning. She's got the look. She's got everything about it. She looks like an absolute star. The rest of it will catch up. She's athletic. She can do it. They need to keep her around Rhea some more people that are way better than her that can pull her with them. Put her with Charlotte and let Charlotte not expose her, but let her guide her and lead her. And as long as she can follow, she'll be a superstar in the next couple of years. Yeah. Like absolute main eventer, leading other people as in main eventer.
And we knew Michin obviously prior to that character, especially here in New England. She wrestled a lot in this area, but I feel like they haven't pulled the trigger with Michin or B-Fab. We don't know who they are. The fans can't be invested in them if they have no clue what their background is. I mean, there's nothing. They just come out and they job, more often than not, and there's no story. There's never vignettes. There's never, it's just maybe they're talking backstage and they get jumped, but that's all you'll see. I don't know. It's just so weird because Michin, she's great, but they just don't invest in the story. And if there's no story, then there's no care. Nobody's going to care at all. But I don't know. Ricky, what do you think of the match?
I think it was okay. Jade just needs a lot of work. I just don't see the improvement there. And she just hasn't gotten all the reps. I think that a lot of other girls were afforded, like coming into the company, going through NXT, or just, there's no more house shows. So when you're wrestling a couple times a month, I feel like she's not going to get any better that way. She does have the look. She looks amazing. Her promo's okay, but you can kind of hide that. Ripley's just a beast. She's so good. She makes everyone look good. And now, it's cool. She's going to SmackDown, so she'll have some new opponents there. So I would have been okay with Jade or Ripley winning. I think they could have gone either way. So I wasn't really too concerned with it. But I just don't think Jade is. I don't know. I just don't see her getting any better.
Yeah.
And I down to the dungeon with Natty.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
See, Natty, there's somebody that should be on WrestleMania.
Yeah, look at Maxine.
Right.
The improvement that girl had was unbelievable. Like
Jacob
a 6 month span.
Going there. Jacob Fatu has been going there. I mean, that's how serious he is. It's not like he needs the reps right now, but he wants them.
Yeah, but
TJ's
like you said, there, and he's a beast.
Yeah. But Maxine looks amazing compared to where she was.
She should have been on WrestleMania. She put in the work this year. How about like Chelsea Green? Where was Chelsea Green? Like, get her into something. She can work. Her character's over. Like, she checks all the boxes as well, and nowhere to be found.
Yeah, for there to be 13 matches and no Chelsea Green is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of crazy to me. And, both nights had a 2-hour countdown show before the 3-hour show. I mean, there's no excuse not to have, you could have had Chelsea Green and Natalia or, something like that. And, people would have been invested in that. She's so over and it's too bad, but.
Put her on a panel. Let her talk. The girl is entertaining as hell. Yeah. Just let her talk about the women. Keep her fresh like that. They missed the boat on her big time. She's more talented than her husband, which I think is hilarious.
Facts. It's so true. It's so
Stop
true.
When I'm lying, right? It's just come on, man.
Yeah, she's great with the PR. She's great with the fans, and she's great with the character and great in ring. So,
anything they give her, it works.
Yeah, she'll be in higher profile matches, I'm sure. It's just going to take time, but So, we should also mention Bianca Belair returned, to reveal her pregnancy. It was great to see her back briefly and got a huge pop. So, people were excited to see her and look forward to, her coming back eventually. Roman Reigns defeating CM Punk, main event, night 2, World Heavyweight Championship. Excellent match, in my opinion. I thought it was a barn burner, as Jim Ross once said. It was just from start to finish. You were invested. They really showcased both talents strongly, and just a phenomenal match. I was very happy with it. Roman Reigns, he's such a big star, so I get it that he won and continues on, and it's not like it was a wrong decision by any means. Joe?
Yeah, the storytelling in this match was amazing. It far outweighed the buildup, which the buildup made sense, but then to actually take everything that they said and create that story in that match, I thought was awesome. Look, you can't take away Roman Reigns has main evented 11 WrestleManias, right? And when you think about Hulk Hogan's only done 8. Okay, so the facts alone, you put Roman in there. This man is a main eventer. He knows how to do it, and he's with CM Punk, probably arguably the greatest talker right now in the business for the last 10-15 years. And he was gone for 10 years. So I mean, this guy is to put the two of them together, and the way that they just left it all in the ring. There was no excuses. There was nothing left to say at the end of the night. And Punk, he basically went ahead and said that on Monday Night Raw. That was the beauty of it. It was poetic. I loved how that story was told.
Ricky, what are you thinking?
I loved it. The match is awesome. How it started, like the build, the psychology behind everything was on point. I've been a Roman Reigns. Well, Joe, I've been a Roman Reigns guy from the start. I was at those manias when everyone was booing and I'm cheering and people wanted to fight me and everyone hated Roman. I was there, still have all my Roman gear. So I'm happy that he did say he's going to be here all summer. That's nice. So we'll get some programs out of him. And CM Punk, I'm not a big Punk guy, but he is just phenomenal on the mic. It's you can't deny that he can he can wrestle anyone and sell it, and you're invested in everything he does. He's just that type of personality. But he did show up. I think he gave it his all, and the match, when he has him up and his back just gives out, like he was just drained. It was just great all around. That probably was the best match of the weekend for me. The storytelling, it was a perfect way to end WrestleMania. I think it saved a lot of people's opinions overall on how the shows went. It took a while to get there, where all the ads and everything else felt like extremely rushed, but that didn't, which I'm happy that they got the time that they deserved.
J-Bo.
Yeah, a great match. Loved it. Similar to what Ricky was saying, I feel like that match kind of not saved it, but it made the overall WrestleMania experience better than maybe it was, because it ended on a high note with just a great match. No bullshit, referee bumps or anything. It was just a good match, just a good wrestling match. The one little nitpick, and a few people have said it, so I'm not, was when Roman took the stairs and smashed Punk with the stairs, like the referee's just standing there looking at him. But that's just being nitpicky. I mean, whatever. You're not going to have a DQ finish, obviously, in the main event. But no, I love that match, and I think Roman was the right guy to win. And Punk, that was my favorite Punk match since he's been back, in AEW and WWE, since this last 4 or 5 year run of him being back. I thought it was awesome, and it was a good way to end the weekend. And interested to see now where they're going, as we saw on Raw, where things are headed with Roman and where things are headed with Punk, because I thought Cody and Randy Orton's feud was going to continue, but now it seems like maybe Cody and Punk. So we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, overall, a fun Mania. I mean, it was fine. It was, let's give a rating real quick. I would give it a 6 out of 10 for both nights combined for me personally. Wasn't anything spectacular, but it wasn't a bad show. How about you, Ricky?
I'll go 7 out of 10. I think the matches were fine. Like fine all across. Like the work was okay. I just think the buildup wasn't there for a lot of the show. So um between that and all the ads, and it did feel a little rushed. I can't go any higher, but I didn't think it was a terrible WrestleMania. But there's something missing. There's something missing with WrestleMania. It just doesn't feel as special. I even thought the stage, like the set, wasn't as good as last year's WrestleMania. It's like I always, especially if you're going to be in the same location, you have to top what you did the previous year. You're going back to Vegas. Fucking, I want slot machines hanging from like spitting cash out. Like, do something crazy. They have the funds. They have the resources to go all out, and I'm just not feeling it. And now next year going to Saudi, like I don't know. I just feel like there's something missing there. I don't really know what they can do to turn it around, but it's not feeling as special as it should.
And I think what's missing is that it's 2 nights. It's no longer that one special mega card that only the best can be on. Now you got 3/4 of the roster on it. It's a little less special. It's not one night, so it doesn't feel like, well, it's not one show. So it's different. You have to approach it, differently, and it's not what it once was. You know what I mean? So I guess we can't compare it, but that's what it's missing is that special. Oh man, this is going to be amazing. It's the best of the best. It's all done in 3 hours, and maybe 3.5 hours. And now it's kind of stretched out, and that's what it is. But Joe, what would you to wrap this up, what would you give for a score?
I got to give them a little bit of grace because there were a lot of injuries leading up to this, and they had to pull a lot of audibles trying to figure out who was going to be going up against who, and that is not an easy decision. Any of us that have been involved with shows have the booking when it's last minute, people don't make it, they can't, they hurt, car breaks down. We've all been there, we've all seen it, and so I got to give them a little bit of grace on it. The matches were good, for the most part. Everybody was out there, they all worked their tails off. I give it to them all. Punk and Roman definitely saved the night. I think night number 2 way overshadowed night number 1. I give it a 7 out of 10. A solid B minus, right around there. If I had to give it a letter grade, I wasn't disappointed, but they got a lot of work to do. The advertising, a lot of the times it went into a commercial and I froze up. And I'd come back and I'd have to rewind it and go back and try to figure out what was going on. It was a pain. The app was a real pain. They've got some work to do.
See, did you guys have commercials during the actual segments? Because a lot of people were saying that, and I didn't have that problem.
No.
They were all in between matches, or
Yeah.
they weren't during anything. So you guys,
Mine would freeze up, and I'd come back in the middle of a match. And that's when I'd rewind it, and
wow.
I was able to do that. So, but yeah, it was. I wasn't happy with it at all.
That's terrible.
Feed. Yeah,
Jay, what would you score this?
Yeah, I'm right around the same. I'll give it like a 7.5. Solid C plus B minus type of deal. The 2-night thing. It's like it's supposed to be our WrestleMania. I mean, it's supposed to be our Super Bowl. Imagine if the Super Bowl had the first half on Saturday, and then they said, "Oh, we'll come back tomorrow night for the second half." You wouldn't. It would be terrible. So maybe they're not going to give up the 2 nights if they're making the kind of money they are. But yeah, it was fine. It's not going to be one I'm going to remember probably down the line, but it's not. It was better than last year, so we'll give it that. And overall, it was fine. Yeah.
And I should mention, it was good to see the Street Profits back. Hopefully, they pull the trigger. I've always been a fan, but they always just get pushed to the wayside or job out. And I think they're both great. I think they were over at one point. I think they can certainly be way over. They've got the talent, they've got the charisma. So hopefully I'm going to be on the right track with them, and we see lots of big things coming with them. So I know I popped on my couch when I saw them come out. So
Yeah.
Joe, keep an eye out for Dawkins. Dawkins is another one that's been at the dungeon. He's been over there nonstop.
Absolutely.
He has come miles in the last year just from being there as much as he has been. That is one of those crucial things. If they any of them are out there listening, get yourself to that dungeon and work out with them.
well, I agree, and I appreciate it, guys. Thank you all for being here. The WrestleMania 42 special, the recap special for Joe Matterazzo, Jason Botelho, Ricky Gonzalez. I've been Joseph Bruen, and this has been the All Access Entertainment Podcast. Don't forget to leave your comments. Love to hear from you, the fans, what you'd like to see on the next show, what you thought of this show. And let's hear about your comments for WrestleMania. What you guys liked, what you didn't like. Leave them in the comments. Give us a like, a subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.